Hi guys and welcome to Thrustzone.com. This is Mohit Soni. We are in Goa yet again driving yet another Coupe SUV. This time it is the Tata Curve, and this is the time when we are finally driving the petrol and diesel versions. And we finally put in a good amount of kilometers on it. We're already well aware of the Curve because of the fact that we've already driven the EV to a very large extent. And what we also know for a fact that the EVs have made a great benchmark in the segment, and the ICE version here is also set to take on the market quite well because it has not one but two petrol engines, a diesel engine as well as a diesel automatic and a petrol automatic, and both of the automatics are dual clutch automatics. This is a segment first move as of now, because back in the day it you didn't see that quite often, at least with the diesel. At least petrol of course exists with the Taigun and the Kushaq, but with the Curve there is a lot to talk about. At the same time, you know a lot of things already. Let me just still go through what is on offer. And what this is the front end of the ICE version, which gets a very nice LED DRL, and you get this very nice grille that is really well done. You've got the LED projector lamps and fog lamps built here, and that is the side profile of the Coupe SUV, which actually looks quite fantastic. Coming at the back is again very Lamborghini like inspiration that you guys have been always telling on the internet everywhere, and we sort of agree with you as well. This does look like one of them. At every angle of the Tata Curve here, it ends up looking quite good, and also thanks to these massive 18-inch wheels which have the efficient tires on offer. Let me just quickly remind you what the car is boot is all about. It's a very small button here. It's got an electronic tailgate, 360-degree camera and parking sensors, and that is what the big highlight is with the interior to begin with. The boot space is absolutely massive, and it can hold so much more stuff. It's truly unbelievable. The button is here showing you what it is like at the back, and this is the seat pushed all the way back, and as you know, there is a good amount of headroom, legroom and knee room on offer. As you can see, I still have good knee room, just about okay. This is pushed all the way back, and despite that my 511 has some space, so anybody who's sitting at the front who's taller or short people can sit here quite easily. You have to sit a little bit lower, slanting forward sort of, or reclined, so that you can get enough headroom. As you can see, headroom is just about okay. It could have been better, but that's what you get in the coupe design. AC vents, charging points, 3-pointed seat belts, armrest with cup can holders, and they are actually a little bit small. The door pads also are just about okay, like how I told you in the EV version as well. Let's get inside using the flush door handles, keyless entry and go, ventilated seats and powered seats on the driver side, and the passenger side though is still a manual unit. Closing the very heavy doors, and this is what the interior is like. The steering wheel and the color clearly reminds me of the JLR cars that use this color as well, and this is a fantastic move. And just look at that screen as well. That screen has a 2D parking camera, 3D parking camera, and you've got all the 360-degree camera views. You've got the AC controls, the lock unlock button which is right here, the boot release, the hill descent, the fog lamp button, and the AC controls are here. Charging points are plenty with these points here. Electronic parking brake, auto hold, and a wireless charger, and some space to keep some stuff. The glove box illuminated and chilled, which is fantastic, and the quality and the finish is quite good. The plastics also don't feel that bad all the way till the end, which is a great initiative by Tata to give it a very upmarket feel. I'm not so sure how the burgundy and the grey sort of silver finish that is seen here is going, but nevertheless the overall cabin looks really good. Of course, like I told in the EV, that the finish aspect could have been better, but the quality, the build quality, the materials are good enough for this segment, and they're definitely a step above the VW SUVs. But at the same time, this is now on par with the Kia and Hyundai to a very large extent, not entirely. and definitely better than the Toyota and the Maruti Grand Vitara and Urban Cruiser that are on sale. So a lot of cousins that exist together are that is what the Curve is going against. And you've got a manual adjustment for the steering, only for rake, not reach. And you've got ADAS features on offer, which I've already explained. The sound system is amazing, the infotainment system is excellent. You've got 4 types of voice assistants, JBL modes, ambient lighting, and what 3 words. And like I told you, Apple CarPlay Android Auto is wireless. The screen works absolutely flawlessly, and in terms of touch, response, colors, fonts, layout, everything in this screen is really good. This is my 6th or 7th time with the screen, and this screen is growing on me, and I really love what is on offer. And that is really a good sign. Tata's weakest point was the infotainment system, and now they fixed it dramatically, which is great. They've also fixed the instrument cluster over, of course, the very old previous cars. This new Curve though already has this fantastic screen which can be used from here. And this is truly very luxury car like features that we are suddenly seeing in all these cars, and this is a great move, and it shows the kind of progress Tata and other Indian manufacturers are making in this space. You've got paddle shifters as well. That is the start stop button right there. So you've got these drive modes here, and this is something that is fully loaded to the gills. Automatic lights and wipers are on offer. The AC works really well. The ventilated seats work really well. The fan is actually quite fast in this, and yeah, very impressed with what the Tata Curve has to offer. You've got your automatic IRVM and the full size panoramic sunroof, which I feel is slightly wider in the segment. So you stop it like this, and then you keep it like this, and voila. So this also lends a lot of light inside the cabin. Despite it's a coupe SUV, you can see there is quite a lot of light inside the cabin, and then the sunroof makes things even better. Sun visor, still no mirror on this side, but there is a mirror on this side, and it is a little bit small. And I think the quality of this hinge could have been a little bit better, so that it could actually stay up here, and a mount of some sort here would have been great. But that's how most sun visors are. We've actually been using quite a lot, and I realized that this is still a problem that exists with most cars in India, and I'm sure Tata will be the first one to fix it, because they are on that note of fixing a lot of things, including their entire portfolio. The Curve actually makes a lot of sense with the kind of space and feature list you have, and with the safety features on offer, including 6 airbag standard throughout the variant. You get these massive screens and a great infotainment system, a good sound system, a very detailed instrument cluster which is a proper screen like your mobile phone, and this fantastic steering wheel which is very big, but at the same time looks quite nice. The illuminated Tata logo also looks good, and the overall black and burgundy shade is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that's what the interior is all about. Let's start driving the car. So what is the Tata Curve diesel automatic like to drive? Well, we know that this is a dual clutch automatic gearbox. This is a 7-speed unit, and this makes around 105 HP of power and 260 Nm of torque. And this is an engine that is quite smooth and free revving, but there is some noise that creeps inside the cabin while driving initially. As soon as the we started off driving in the morning, and then it was a relatively cold engine, so it was making a bit of noise. Once we got the temperatures up, and after driving a few kilometers, the noise inside the cabin came down quite well. And at cruising at 70-80 and above, there is bare minimum of noise that creeps inside the cabin. Apart from that, you have very good low end and mid-range torque. Top end is just about okay, because post 140 it does feel a little bit sluggish, because of course the car is also big, it's tall, and it is quite heavy. So diesel actually will again be very specific to people who do long distance quite a lot, and that's where it will return a higher fuel efficiency of, let's say, 15 to 17 kilometers per liter. In the city you can expect it to deliver 14 to 15 kilometers. On the highway maybe it can touch 18-19 at max. So the average you can expect around is 14-15 if you do city and intercity, and 14 to 15 is something that you can expect in real life situations. At the same time, this DCA gearbox, how does it shift? Well, most importantly, upshifts and downshifts are quite smooth, definitely much better than the AMT, and definitely it shifts much more quickly. Upshifts and downshifts both are quite quickly done, and this is something that is praiseworthy because getting a dual clutch automatic gearbox in a diesel isn't easy, and Tata Motors has done that, so that is a great feat. In terms of operation of the engine and gearbox, it's also quite good, and it's a job well done then. But at the same time, at certain speeds it can feel confused, but I guess it learns on its own, and so it will adapt automatically. This is a dual clutch automatic that has been made very India friendly, so it is a wet clutch, and it's got the vibration motors inside to make sure that the dust does not really creep in and let go of the gearbox's smooth functioning, and reliable aspect is also stretched as far as possible. And you've got the drive mode, and you can shift that also accordingly to get the best possible power and torque delivered to you in eco mode or city mode and sports mode, because that will depend truly on how you drive and where you drive. And the modes will work their jobs quite well. Eco feels a little bit tamed, the city feels just about okay, and the sport feels a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more sporty. At the same time, like I said, the handling is very good. Just like the EV, the handling is quite good. The body roll is well in check. There is a lot of grip on offer. It handles really well. Feel and feedback from the steering is good. Could have been better. The brakes and tires feel great. The stability, the ride quality, balance is surreal. It is really good, even in the petrol and the diesel engines that we've driven. We've of course put out a different petrol engine review, and this is a diesel review as well. And it's a fine balance of everything. You can't really criticize the ride and handling part of the Curve, apart from the fact that the diesel could have been a bit more efficient and bit more quiet. But then again, getting a diesel option, which will help you a lot on the highway runs that you plan to do, or do interstate runs, and that's where the diesel will truly make sure that you're getting the best out of it, despite the lack of refinement that could have been better. Apart from that, the Curve is a very solid product. It is a fine balance of so many things: design, interior, feature list, safety, drive, ride quality, and comfort and premiumness. All of it comes together so well, along with that great design, is what I like to emphasize once again. The Curve is truly a very good mid-size SUV segment. It has come late, but it has come with a bang, and this is something that everybody will have to take notice of, because this is something that Tata Motors has pulled out really well. Along with the EV option, the Curve makes a lot of sense than we ever thought it would. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time in the next video. Until then, goodbye.